Well, whether you need a trust is a really interesting question. Often you will find from financial advisors and some lawyers who really say you need a trust, and I don't think you do. You may want a trust, and a trust is really useful for certain things, but it's rare that you need a trust. So let me tell you the reasons why I think a trust may be useful for you. If you are parents of minor children, if you don't have a trust and something happened to the two of you, then the children would be allowed to have their assets on their 18th birthday. They're legally adults and they can come into their assets. And as parents, we don't necessarily think all the time that 18 is old enough to be able to have control of that much money. The only way under Michigan law that you can delay that receipt of your assets is through a trust. And in a trust, as parents, you can set forth the requirements of when money is to go to your children. So for example, after college, or it could be used for their college costs, and you can give it in a series of installments. You can do pretty much what you want with how you want your money to go to the children. And that's often a really good benefit for your family because it protects your children against unwise decisions and maybe being taken advantage of at a young age. So trust is really useful for that. The second thing a trust is useful for is if you're a very private person or if you have some conflict in the family. If you just distribute your assets by a will, that is probated, and that's a public proceeding, and your heirs, even if they're not a beneficiary of your will, are entitled to a copy of the will. So if you have a parent that you don't get on with, or another relative, they would have a copy of your will and be part of those initial proceedings. If you have your assets distributed in a trust, that's a much more private proceeding. It does not necessarily go through court, and you can protect your distributions from those that you don't want to know about your assets. And the third reason you may want a trust is if you have a great amount of wealth, and there may be some taxable consequences to your estate. A trust has some provisions or mechanisms that you can do some trust planning in that, tax planning. So those are the reasons why you may want a trust. It can be very useful in a lot of ways.